Alright, this is Andrew Jolly with Jota Home Inspections. We're here today in Sandy on Geranium Street. It's September 3rd, 2019. We're doing a sewer scope. We've got the camera pushed all the way out to what looks like the main city line connection. We're going to pull it back now and record it and see what we find. So first thing right off the bat, this is called the nose on. This connection here is what drops your line into the city line. You can see on the bottom left part of the screen some running water. This is a good connection. You're attached to the city line, and it's dropping down into the line like it should. And I run a fair amount of water as I push the camera out. One thing that helps determine is if you have proper grade. So one of the big things we're looking at is whether you have any standing water. So far this is looking really good. There's a root right there. Oh, looks like it's getting caught on my camera. That's a little one, but that one is something that can grow bigger and it can catch on solids. Even though that's a little one, that's kind of stringing out into the line, and that can catch on things, and that can cause a backup. So that's something that you want to keep maintained. Once you have roots, you're always going to have them. There's some more. Can't tell if that's a... Yeah, that's an entire root. I didn't know if the top part might have been a spider web, but it looks like that's an entire... The whole thing is a root. That's something I'd recommend having cleaned out now. Again, that's something that can catch on solids and can cause a backup. But once you have roots, you're always going to have them. So that's going to be something that you need to maintain over time. Maybe a little bit of an offset on the right-hand side. This looks like a clay line, at least for this section, and clay can separate. And once the clay separates, you can get a little offset, and that's what you're seeing on the bottom right-hand side of the line right there. Doesn't look like anything's pulling around this area, which is a good sign that it's performing the way that it should. Alright, so this is a newer section of pipe here. This looks like PVC. PVC is a plastic pipe. That's what they use on most new construction. Still haven't seen any significant amounts of standing water, which is great. That means that things are draining on their own the way they should be. You're a little bit less than 100 feet out, which is average. Average line's about 100 feet. This is cast iron. This is what's going to be under your house. This is good looking cast iron, especially for the age. The issue with cast iron is that it'll flake and you'll get sediment and rust that builds up inside of it, and the rust can catch on things and can cause a backup. And then with the flaking, that's something that eventually it'll get so thin that you'll eventually need to replace it or put a liner in. It also makes it hard to clean because when you clean it, a lot of times it'll just continue to flake off, and can actually make it worse. But for being cast iron, this looks pretty smooth. One limitation with that, with the scope, is that there's no way for anybody to look at the line and tell you how thin it is. It is something that'll eventually need to be replaced. I'm not sure if Sandy has it available. In Salt Lake, there's an insurance program that's available. I always recommend getting that when you have original sections of pipe left. So just to recap, you have some cast iron, some clay that has some roots that could be cleaned out now just as a precaution, and then you have some newer section of pipe. No standing water, well, a tiny bit, but nothing that was too concerning. One little offset. So I'm going to end this recording now.